Hey,
Welcome.
Jewel.
Hey, Noah.
Hi. I think I'm supposed
Hi,
to go to
Noah.
stage.
Hi,
I'm going to
Noah.
see if I can
Hey,
do
Noah.
this.
Hey, guys. Everyone.
Car guy tested the mic. It works, Jewel.
Oh, right on. That's amazing. Check test, check test. Ooh, I'm about to go through the mic.
Yay. Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks, everyone, for
Thanks
coming.
for coming,
And
everyone.
please feel free to gather kind of closer as well. Yeah, kind of gather in, get a nice little tight circle here going. And yeah, really excited, Jewel, to have you here. I think we're just about to go live. Just waiting for confirmation that we are live.
You are
And
live.
once I have that, we can go ahead and get started. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
I want to make a replica of the coffee shop I got discovered in.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Reminds me of it. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yes.
Well, and get this, the name of that coffee shop was Interchange.
Wow. Oh,
What?
that's incredible.
Cool.
Right.
That's such a, it's full circle, you know? It's amazing.
It really is. It's a moment.
Great. I think we are live. So we have folks watching on the Zoom. Welcome to those folks. And thank you to our amazing community who are in the app with us. And Jewel and I are here in VR. So when you see us move our hands around, we're holding virtual reality controllers. And when I'm moving my head, it's actually moving the head of the avatar. But some folks here are on iPads or computers because it works on any device. So we can all be together. And yeah, Jewel, I'm really excited to have you here. And, you know, the purpose of this event is for us to communicate with the community, get to know you a little better, and talk about some exciting science that we have with Innerworld. So I'm kind of curious if you could maybe start out by describing how you got into, you know, the mental health field and have been in this area of peer support for so many years.
Yeah, so it's nice to have all of you guys here. Some of you I know. I think I'm seeing some new names that are unfamiliar to me, at least. You guys know me probably as a singer. I've been interested, the word mental health didn't exist, but my interest was what I called an emotional language. I moved out very young when I was 15, and I knew that that was very dangerous and that statistically moving out wouldn't make my life better. And the goal of moving out is to make your life better. And so I really thought long and hard before I allowed myself to move out onto my own to try and give myself some kind of belief that I really practically could do better than the abusive environment that I was in at home. And something I realized was when, you know, I was in whatever grade of science that was, I think I was like in 9th, 10th grade science, something, you know, you learn a lot about genetics and that you can have a genetic predisposition to diabetes or heart disease. But as I looked at my family and my family history, I realized we had an emotional inheritance. And that was passed on generation to generation. And it was going to give me a predisposition to abuse or abusive cycles, addiction, and a whole host of other things of, you know, poor regulation. Of course, I didn't know those words then, but what I just saw is anger issues and those types of things. And so I realized my job in life was to learn a new emotional language and to see if happiness was a learnable skill. Was it a teachable skill, or was it just this accidental thing some people are born with? And that led me on an incredible life's journey. I began writing because it's how I managed my anxiety. I just noticed I felt better. And so I wrote more. And the more I wrote, now, of course, now I know that it helps make me present. When you're curious and observing, that's being present. And so my whole career ended up being was a mindfulness exercise. And for me, what I wanted to understand is, what do I do with pain? Why aren't I taught what to do with it? And so that's what I've collected about learning my whole life. I started, I don't know why, but I had a talent for writing songs and then for coming up for behavioral tools. I realized for some weird intuitive reason that my life was the effect of my behavior. My behavior built my life. And so if I could change my behavior, I could build different things in my life. And so I began to develop behavior practicable exercises. And then I started to use these with other kids without therapy. Not because I'm against therapy. I didn't have access to it as a child, and I wanted to help other kids that didn't have access to it. And it turns out it works really well. So that was 22 years ago. Flash forward to about 6 months ago, I was thinking the metaverse is the perfect place to put these behavioral tools online in a peer-to-peer setting. Our foundation, we work with kids, it's all behavioral and it's all in groups. So I did like deep research thinking surely nobody ever would have thought of this but me. And I found Innerworld in beta testing and reached out to Noah just blindly. And luckily he didn't ignore me. And I realized we were trying to build the same thing. And that we came to these things completely on our own, but with kind of similar stories. So I'd love, Noah, for you to share your story as well.
Yeah, sure. And I think what's incredible about Jewel that some of you might not know is that Jewel, the tools that you were able to create are so incredible. And just through introspection as an adolescent to reflect on your own experiences and develop tools that now you've been able to implement over the past 22 years with adolescents at the foundation is just very rare. I mean, I only know of Aaron Beck, who created CBT, Marshall Linehan, who created DBT, as folks who've been able to do that, and you. So yeah, it's just an incredibly amazing and beautiful thing. And for me, in my teenage years, when I was 13, I realized I was gay and I became depressed and I escaped into the metaverse. That was my coping skill. I didn't actually have the ability like you did to introspect and kind of come up with my own tools. I was kind of sucked in and into this other world, RuneScape, that's similar to World of Warcraft, and it trapped me there. And so, I was there. I spent almost 10,000 hours living in that environment, but it also saved my life. It gave me purpose. It gave me hits of dopamine to keep me going. So it had this positive effect, but it also sucked me into another reality and trapped me there. And eventually, because I was an avatar in a community and I had confidence there, I led a clan of 400 people. I was able to come out of the closet to that clan. And their positive response empowered me to come out in the real world. But that took from 13 to 18, like 5 years of that experience. And so I wondered, like, what if we could build something that was designed to help people come back to reality more empowered than they left it? And so that's what led me on the kind of journey of creating Innerworld, and also realizing that at Vanderbilt, where I'm about to finish my PhD, that there's not enough therapists. I'm trained as a therapist in cognitive behavioral therapy. There's not enough therapists to help everyone. And so the peer-based model, where we train some incredible guides who are in the audience here, who we'll hear from a little bit, is the only way that we can scale mental health intervention to reach everybody who needs it.
Yeah, and I think, just talking about therapists, right now it's estimated we're about 500,000 therapists short in the US alone. Some of the best numbers in the country are like one therapist every 140 patients. That's just not enough. We think that if everybody who wanted help or needed help sought it, we'd be about 5 million therapists short. So we have a bottleneck, and I just don't think we're going to solve this bottleneck in a traditional way. So traditionally, therapy has been one-on-one, and it's great and it works and we love it. There's just not enough therapists. Then therapy 2.0 was, COVID forced therapists to say, all right, let's try this online. And we find it's been working quite well. But we still have this bottleneck of just not enough therapists, and therapists are artists. There's great ones and there's mediocre ones. And so the question was, why hasn't technology helped solve this issue, right? Technology has benefited so many industries. I just haven't seen it really benefit mental health. Part of that is because it's high touch. Part of it is because it was a brick and mortar model. And part of it's because it's a one-on-one model. And so with the advent of VR, it's the first time, and with, I think, Innerworld, and why I'm so proud to be a part of this is the first real solve for the bottleneck in the mental health crisis. Here, people are able to get very real help based on scientifically proven behavioral tools. So the reason this is so important to me is meditation is important. We teach all our kids to meditate. I like meditation apps. There's a gap between meditating, which, I love definitions. So I define mindfulness as being consciously present. Like, that's it. It just, when you're consciously present, that helps us. It puts us in a position to change. So when you learn to meditate, you get present. But now what? You have to leave your meditation room and you're going to go partake in some behaviors. And when you're present, you'll start noticing your behaviors may not be that great for you or giving you the best outcomes that you want. So the key to change, in my opinion, is A, getting present, and then B, having a behavioral tool to change patterns to help alleviate pain points. So for me, it was shoplifting. I knew that was a big problem for me. It was going to land me in jail. I was homeless. And so I focused on that pain point. And how do I develop a new behavior? Stealing is a behavior. Why? And so I began to replace my behavior with a different behavior of writing. It led me on another amazing discovery and journey that I won't get into. But basically, that's what we do here. We do help people meditate, help them learn to be consciously present. But then we feel this gap of what is your pain point? That's why, as you guys know, we have meetings around living with grief or chronic illness or social anxiety, where we focus on behavioral tools.
Yeah, and I just want to show, maybe one of the tools here, so that folks can kind of see, this is an example of a tool that we have where, folks can learn how to be assertive in their relationships and things like that. And we have tons of different tools. Maybe towards the end, we can ask people to kind of pull out their favorite tools and things. But this is what it's like. It's this 3D thing that exists in the world with us in this space where we're an avatar and we can see it and go up to it and draw on it and things like that. And so it really takes that next step from the flat screen of Zoom, where I know some folks are actually watching this right now, but even on the Zoom, you can't actually navigate with your keyboard and go into the world and go through the world and walk up to the tool. And what we're seeing with cognitive behavioral immersion is that when you add that immersive component in a virtual environment, it seems to be more effective because we're actually allowing someone to go to a different place, like I did with RuneScape, into the metaverse and be there and basically experience that positive change. And I'm also a fan of definitions. And I think one thing I'd love to mention as well is the definition of the metaverse, because we hear that term a lot. Apple is rumored to come out with their XR headset shortly, but they're claiming they're not going to use the term metaverse, but they're still going to be part of it, which is, I define metaverse as any internet connected environment where humans interact as avatars. So RuneScape was part of the metaverse. Innerworld is part of it. Meta's products, formerly Facebook's, are part of it, and Apple, if they have any kind of networked environment with avatars, will also be part of that. So it's super exciting that this immersive experience and technology can potentially facilitate more effective intervention. But there also are risks, and so I'm curious if you want to touch. We spend a lot of time, and you as our chief strategy officer, especially thinking about the risks of the platform and how we're mitigating. So I'm curious if you could kind of maybe touch on that as well.
Yeah. So, the drawbacks, I have an 11-year-old son and we don't use a lot of screen time in our house. So it might sound funny that I'm a co-founder in a screen-based virtual world. So for me to be able to do this authentically and for Noah to solve for the things that hurt him, right? What helped him was genuine connection when he was younger. What hurt was escapism. And so what we have to do is solve for those things. And we have, I believe. I know we have. And so there's high connectivity here. Connection cures. There's all kinds of studies around that effect alone of when you can find like-minded people going through like-minded things. And so instead of using technology to disconnect us, which it can, and there are instances where that happens in other places, we have built a world that creates high connectivity because of emotional safety. Safety is a big issue because trolls are a big problem in the new Wild West of virtual worlds. And so we have a lot of troll control. And in fact, it only takes about 20 seconds for us to be able to identify a troll. And we're able to do IP banning so they can't come in and just use a different username, for instance. And I think everybody here, I can see a lot of you have been here for quite a while. By the way, for anybody on Zoom watching, the number next to their names is how long they've been here, how many months they've been here. And so I think you guys could all agree or shake your head or thumbs up that this is a really safe place. I think also for us putting, parameters, we have a lot of safety protocols. Something that really impressed me about partnering with Noah is he did 4 years of beta testing. That's unheard of. People don't do that with startups. I mean, that really shows a dedication to safety, and working out a lot of kinks and creating tons of protocols on the back end to make sure this stays a safe environment emotionally. And just with trolls, with people all over the world, coming in at all hours of the day, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And so those kinds of things are incredibly important. And I've been so proud of the experience we're able to give people.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And, we're really excited also to be measuring outcomes. And so I wanted to share a little bit of exciting new data that actually was accepted for publication in a peer-reviewed journal and will be coming out soon. And also, I want to prepare for Q&A as well. So if any of the folks on the Zoom have questions, you can put them in the chat, and we'll be able to see those. And then also folks in the audience as well. Before we get to the Q&A, after I present this data, we'd love to hear from you to share your experiences of Innerworld and what it's been like as well. Because, we can talk about it, but I think the human stories of lives changed behind the avatars is what's really incredible. So yeah, I just wanted to share quickly.
Before you bring up the graphics, there's some things that, I'd love to talk about, when you're in an environment, right? There have been studies now about that having a vagus nerve reaction, because the sound and the hearing and the immersion is so complete that your nervous system is successfully switching off of your sympathetic into your parasympathetic nervous system. You guys have probably experienced that, the aquarium room and all these things really has profound real effects. They're studying this now all over in many places. And then I forget what you call it, Note. Is it network effects? Just the power of connection and what that's just even been called and studied.
Yeah, non-specific effects.
Yeah. So non-specific effects, basically, they're showing that regardless of what therapist you're seeing, what type of therapy you're engaging in, just the act of connecting. So even just being in this environment with you guys is proving as effective as any modality of therapy. So that's one of the things I love about Innerworld, is just how connective that is, and that we get to experience that benefit. And then on top of it, this is a clinical research platform, which is profound. We want to make sure we have results. We don't want to just say, hey, we're going to teach you to meditate. It's going to change your life. Go. We want to help you really change your life. And that means behaviorally. And that means we have to make sure we're making good on this promise. We have to track our outcomes to make sure that we're doing right by everybody, because that's at the end of the day, all we care about.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's a really good point. And those non-specific effects are really powerful. And they account for the majority of outcomes in therapy, which is incredible. And so as Jewel mentioned, we are a clinical research platform, and I wanted to just share some exciting data. So we'll see. Let me know if folks cannot see this graph, and I'm just going to put this right here. Cool. Can people see this prop?
It might be a good idea to get a little bit closer. Yeah.
Yeah, if folks want to. So what's exciting about this is that we have basically we track symptoms of depression and anxiety over time, and you can see that those lines that start all the way on the left are kind of people's starting symptoms of depression and anxiety. By the way, how many people here have filled out a survey that measures their depression and anxiety? You can use maybe the thumbs up, or I see some hands being raised. Yeah, I see a lot of everybody basically has.
Wow, that's great.
And so we measure that. And so what we're seeing is that over 10 sessions, we're seeing significant decreases in symptoms of depression and anxiety, which is so exciting. This is showing clinical efficacy, real clinical changes happening as a result of the human connection and tools and groups that we're facilitating in Innerworld. And also, the more social support someone has, the greater extent that they report feeling connected to the community, the greater the decrease in their symptoms of depression. So I think that's really exciting, because we typically think about social media as this kind of negative thing. But when we have authentic social interactions with the right culture and the right kind of safety that Jewel was talking about, it's incredibly powerful. And then lastly, I just wanted to show this other slide here, which I will put in front. 1 second. I'm going to just grab it and move it back a little bit. So the last thing I wanted to show is something that's really exciting to us.
If you bring it closer, it's less blurry for us.
Oh, sure. Right, yeah.
Guys? Do you notice
is that better?
Yeah.
Cool. So the other thing that's really cool about this is we actually measured the amount of symptom change that people are experiencing when they're in an immersive virtual reality headset versus a flat screen device. And we're still seeing that the magnitude of change in flat screen devices is still significant, which is exciting. So people who are accessing this from a phone or iPad are still experiencing some kind of change. But when people experience it through VR, we're seeing 3 times as much change almost, 3 times as much symptom improvement. And so what that suggests to us is that the immersion, which is that thing that we were talking about in terms of how much you feel like you're in the environment, the greater sense of immersion may lead to greater symptom change, is what this data is suggesting to us. This is showing that, VR headsets might not just be a gimmick or a kind of, something that is just for gaming and escape, but it actually might be the best possible way that we can deliver mental health intervention for many people. Not only is it scalable, but it's immersive. So we're just really excited about this. And I'm also excited to share that we're very likely to, we're in the preliminary stages of confirmation to potentially receive funding from NIH to do a full-scale randomized controlled trial of Innerworld as well. So yeah, that's been in the
That's
works
really
for
hard.
a long
Like
time.
to get funding from the National Institute of Health means you are legit science. So bravo, Noah.
Thank you. We're very excited. And yeah, we just got our notice of likely award a couple days ago. So it's not
Wow.
official yet, but we're very excited. And that'll be really powerful because then we can make clinical claims actually about Innerworld and things like that, which is very powerful. So yeah, maybe we could hear from some members. I don't know, Jewel, if you want to call on anyone, and then we can
course.
answer the Q&A.
Yeah. Anybody want to ask a question?
And also you can share about your experience as well, if you'd like, and then we can, yeah.
I am just thrilled because I always joke about Star Trek because I'm a Trekkie. And we joke about the holodecks and stuff like that. And in the future, if we had this and we could do that and blah, blah, blah. And, this is the amazing thing is for me, being at my age, seeing this come to life. And we're doing it for mental health. And like you, Jewel, I, at about 9th grade, quit school, ran away from home, and became a writer. I write my own stuff. I'm just a little fun writer. But you know what? It is something that helped me get through because I had nobody to help me get through. I did eventually get some good therapists, and I did meet some really wonderful people along the way. And I feel like I had a blessing that was bestowed upon me because of those people. But I still felt that anxiety and that insecurity and that fear to be around people, even though I'm a people person. And the thing is, I came in here and like Noah was talking about, I went from this really hyped anxiety to now I can raise my hand and say, hi, I'm red-eyed. I gotta tell you, these guides in here are, my heart gets a little emotional. I apologize for that. But these guides in here are amazing because they're my peers. They're from all around the world. They're wonderful people. And I always tease Dale about being my main guru because he was one of the first ones I met. And that first person you meet in here does make a difference. It really does. And I got to tell you, there isn't a guide in here that I haven't found, that I haven't respected and didn't care about as they need to. And that's what this inner world has given me, is that ability to know that in here, I am safe. I don't have to worry about the trolls. And I can go out there in the outer world and be a better me for my family and friends. And when my husband can tell me Wednesday night at 7:30, I have a meeting coming up at 8 p.m., it tells me it's working. So I thank you, Noah. I really do. And all of you guys.
Yeah, and you mentioned peer-to-peer. Thank you so much for sharing. That was really touching. I love hearing all of your stories. It's why we all work so hard. And for the people watching on Zoom, we are a peer-to-peer model. And so that means we're not having therapists lead our meetings. We're having trained peers. And so for instance, I could train up and I can take a course to become a guide, and I can be trained in these CBT and DBT skills. And then through that and through a process Noah has created, you can then qualify to become a guide. And we have lots of oversight. It is very safe. And just to hear you talk so glowingly of the guides is really, just warms my heart.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And yeah, we just have a few minutes left before Q&A. So if folks want to just, briefly share, we'll get through as many folks as we can, because I love hearing folks' stories, and then we can answer some of the questions that we've gotten as well. Yeah, Roxanne, do you want to go next?
I I'm so thankful for the guides in here. They're all amazing. I think most of you know my story, but very quickly, I had not left my house by myself for 6 years before I joined Innerworld. And I found out about Innerworld because my husband saw Jewel on the news and told me about it. And I signed up, and 2 weeks after attending meetings every day, I left the house for the first time by myself. And now
That's crazy.
I don't, I know.
I love
And
it.
now I don't even
Wow.
think of that as a problem of mine anymore. Oh, thank you, Life Lessons. I don't even think of that as a problem of mine anymore. Obviously, I have anxiety sometimes, and I get down sometimes. But my biggest thing before was not being able to leave the house, and to be able to come in here now if I'm anxious. One night I was having a panic attack, and I came in, and people were just so incredibly welcoming and helpful and non-judgmental. This place is amazing, and it has absolutely 1,000% changed my life. So thank you.
Wow, Roxanne, I haven't gotten to hear your story. Thank you. That was incredible. And I am blown away by what Innerworld can do with agoraphobia and fear of leaving your home. And something I do want to mention for people that might be watching on Zoom is that this is a layered approach to mental health. If you have no therapist, we should be able to support you and give you significant relief. If you have therapists, we love that. And this can overlay onto your normal therapies and just continue to support you. In fact, we're having a lot of therapists come in here because they need support. They have a really stressful job, and because they're wanting to see what's helping their clients.
Yeah, it's really, we've had therapists come in who saw such incredible changes in their clients, and then they're like, what's happening? What is this thing? And then they stay because they need, they need help. I'm trained as a therapist. Like, it's stressful, and, they need support too. So, yeah. Moon Goddess, do you want to go next? Oh,
You're on mute, Moon Goddess.
Oh, now we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was just saying that, I remember, Roxanne, the first day you came in here, and you were sharing your story with me, and I was telling you how, I had left my house in 4 years. I couldn't even get myself to go to the mailbox. I was in therapy for 3 years, which was helpful in my stress and my loneliness, but not in socialization, not in getting out of the house. And I remember saying to you, I get to watch your journey, and watching your journey really reinforced everything for me in here, because I got to see it through a different set of eyes than when I went through it. And then, no matter how much you learn in here, there's always something new being added, whether it be somebody else's story or beautiful things like Jules' tool, the one that you have with, so sorry, it's been a long day.
Like emotional dyslexia and anxiety as an ally, and all the different recordings that she has.
Thank you. The emotional dyslexia. Yeah, the emotional dyslexia, that was huge for me. When I started realizing that things that I were seeking in life that I thought was love was the complete opposite. Again, I found myself growing once again in this amazing community. And I know that it's going to continue to grow every day with every person that comes in here, that shares, that opens up and allows yourself to be vulnerable. You take us on that journey with you. And I thank you all.
Thanks, Moon. And you mentioned, I guess, the change. Now you're a guide, but the change you experienced, and then now you're helping others.
Absolutely. I mean, I walk around outside now and I walk up to people, and if they look sad or down, I'm the first one to reach out to them. I couldn't even look people in the eye before, and now I'm like, I feel like I've got this little nugget of gold that I just want to share with the whole world, and I can't keep it to myself.
Wow.
And just hearing that you became a guide, that's really what we're finding for, again, the people on Zoom. A lot of our community's members benefit, and they want to give back. And so we have an incredibly wonderfully long line of people that want to be guides. And as we grow, we can keep training our guides. And it's sort of like an Uber for mental health in a really positive way, with a lot of science and a lot of training. but we can start to scale up. And to me, that's the really cool thing is our meeting never will have more than 30 people. And the cool thing about having a meeting with people as you learn tools is you're hearing everybody else's experience with those. And so we learn more. And then if more people want to take that class at the exact same time, because of VR, we can just spawn a new world. We can text a guide, they can hop on and can be there. And so we can grow and shrink depending on the need. And the more people we get coming, the more specified our meetings can be, which I'm so excited, right? We have veterans that we're serving. We have moms with little ones we're serving, and we can become more and more specified about people's specific pain points.
Yeah, imagine if like people can queue for a dungeon in World of Warcraft. You have like a tank and a healer. Imagine if you could queue for an anxiety meeting and just go into one immediately, or depression, or parents of veterans, or anything. So we're really excited about that. I do see some questions coming in, so maybe one or two more, and then we can get started. And thank you for the patience for everyone. Then we can kind of answer some of these interesting questions that we've gotten. So yeah, Crazy Kitty, do you want to go briefly, and then we can have one or two more, and then head to the Q&A.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Noah. Thank you, Jewel. So I came into Innerworld, I think last November. I have a long history of mental health problems, especially health anxiety. That's one of my main things. I've seen many private therapists, hypnotherapists, and nothing seemed to help. And then I found Innerworld, and I saw the video for it, and I was like, I need to get in there, and I came in, and wow, oh my god, the things I've learned, and it's helped so much. It's helped me in my difficult relationship I'm in. I've learned new tools on how to manage conflict in that relationship, and also, I mean, at the minute I've had some really bad news yesterday that unfortunately my landlord's selling the house and I have to leave in a few months. But just knowing that I have this group of people that I can come in and talk to, and it just helps so much. Thank you, Life Lessons. Just knowing that you guys are here and I can come in and talk to you, it just makes me feel better knowing I don't feel alone. So thank you all. Thank you.
That's the thing. It's available 24/7 whenever you need it, however much you need. And you can go, people can leave, and then they can come back if something happens in their life. I think it's really incredible.
Yeah, that's what I really noticed. My whole mission in life has been grow. And then just when I kind of have a grip on something, like I got a grip on shoplifting, then my life changed and I got discovered. And then now I had to learn how to handle people watching me all the time, and I had to learn new skills because I don't like that. That actually really triggered me. So I had to learn skills around that, and then I had to learn skills around becoming a mom, and then I had to learn skills around going into toddlerhood, and then I had to learn skills through divorce. So your life just keeps growing, and our life will challenge us all the time. And the great thing is we get to keep developing our tools, and we find that people feel better and they might leave for a while and then they come back because they're like, hey, I'm in a new relationship. I need new tools. And we can just keep growing with people in different stages of life.
Fantastic. Yeah, maybe one more, Insomnia Doodles and Blind Mage. Thank you for your patience. If we have time after the Q&A, I'd love to hear from you as well. I'd love to, Insomnia Doodles, if you want to go, and then we can answer some of the questions that we got.
Yeah, I'll keep it real brief, but I just wanted to say I earlier on in Innerworld, I started out as a community member, and then I expressed interest in leading a group for folks that have chronic illnesses and disabilities, because so far in Innerworld I hadn't seen that group yet, and it was so kind of Noah and the other staff to allow me to lead a group. And I just wanted to share that it's really not scary being a peer support group host. I get just as much support being a host as I do joining other host meetings. And eventually, unfortunately, I had to step down due to some health issues. But when I did have to step down, everybody was so understanding and supportive. I didn't have any anxiety around having to step down. I knew everybody understood. This is a fantastic community, and I highly encourage everyone to either join a group, or if you have any interest in becoming a guide, look into that, because it's really not scary, I promise. I have social anxiety and I can do it. And I know everybody's different, but it's great. I really recommend it to everybody. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Yeah, well, thank you for sharing, Insomnia. I wanted to get to some of the questions. So I think one question someone had is how they can sign up and get started. And if you just go to inner.world, which is our URL, you can download the app and kind of get started there. And then the next question was, what
Works
do you hope?
without, before you move on, I apologize.
Sure, yeah.
You can do it just on your iPad. It's really
Yes.
easy. It's very self-explanatory. And so we have, I'd say 60% of our community members, if I remember right, using us on traditional devices. I've heard community members say that they'll take their phone logged into Innerworld to go grocery shopping or for that support they need, just with some social anxiety. So it doesn't have to be on a headset.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. I think it's really important that it's a virtual environment and you can access it from any device. And then I think that, yeah, so the next question is, what do you see this doing for the future of mental health? So we'll let you answer that first. And yeah.
Everybody deserves access to good mental health hygiene. And there are tools that work, just like we're taught how to floss our teeth and brush our teeth, not back and forth too hard because it hurts our gum lines. You want to go in little circles. There's very practical advice that we need about our mental hygiene, and these tools exist and they have been studied, and we need to create more access to them. So I really believe Innerworld is the first true technological advancement in mental health that is going to be is scientifically backed and proven, that can scale. Now, scale's hard, right? Mental health is typically a very high touch thing. We're able to create high touch, high connectivity, but because of the virtual world, we're able to do it scale without it ever feeling crowded.
Yeah, and I think I see a similar future. And I think that what I'm also excited about is that we're data oriented. And so, like you mentioned, the stepped care model where folks can come to us, they can get help, and then we can destigmatize what it means to check yourself into the hospital. One of our members said it was the most beautiful experience of their life in a group, instead of making it the scary thing. And maybe people can take their data with them. And so when you go to a therapist or if you have to go to the hospital, what if your doctor could, you could show them your 10 months of your, depression, anxiety scores with the key things you've been working on or key problems. In just one session, they could help you a lot more than spending a whole session doing an intake and things. So scaling and then becoming integrated into the healthcare system so that we can meet that demand, I think is so exciting. And it's really
just
exciting.
The bounds for education are endless, right? I've needed to learn parenting fitness, relationship fitness, health fitness, all kinds of things. And so we just get to keep learning. And so the growth and the future of this platform is one of the things I'm the most excited about. And using the lens of mindfulness, being consciously present, we can continue to offer more and more wraparound lifestyle offerings.
Yeah, I love that. The next question is, what has it been like for both of you to see the real life results and effects of Innerworld?
That's the best. I'm one of the rare people that gets to say I have been a rock star. It's fun. Being a musician is rad. Helping people want to live beats it by 10, 100, bajillion, trillion fold. This is fun.
I love it. Yeah, for me, it's so rewarding, and to hear these stories, like I'm tearing up and getting emotional, and it's everything I could hope it could be, and it really motivates me to keep working on it. Some people thought I was crazy to start a company while also doing a PhD, but this is why I did it, because we together we're creating this. And the other thing that's amazing when I see these effects, the science, is that I know that it's not this top-down thing. We're a community. It's bottom up. It's grassroots. It's all of us together are building this thing and helping each other heal. And so that's such a beautiful thing because it's scalable, and it's also showing that even if you're coming in with and you haven't left the house in years, or you're suffering from depression or bipolar disorder, things like that, you can come in, you can get help, and then you can be empowered to help others. And so it's just this beautiful circle that is very exciting. Great. So yeah, I think that those were the main questions we have so far from the Zoom. Does anyone here have any questions or anything? And we have about 10 minutes left. So yeah, we're happy to answer any questions that folks might have here. And actually, before that, I guess Blind Mage, we'd love to hear from you as well, because I know that we weren't able to get to you for the Q&A.
Well, I'll keep it short. I am diagnosed with multiple mental disorders and phobias. When I was actually in a pretty dark place before I came here. addicted to the same mobile game Moon was at one point. And just just being here for a few weeks and being present, I already had made amazing leaps with the social phobia aspect of things, which in general helped to lessen the my general anxiety and the agoraphobia. And I've mostly been using the tools to work on. I've had very dissociative thoughts and feelings my entire life, like wondering why I wake up in the same body every day, sort of thing. But the tools have helped me to feel better about that.
Amazing. Thank you for
I
sharing, Blind Mage.
really, yeah, I
Go
relate
ahead.
so much to what you're saying, Blind Mage. I would always have these very existential, very disassociative episodes. Just I didn't know what trauma was. I didn't know anything. I just, a lot of us we just go into life not not knowing what the heck is happening to us. These crazy things would come over me, and I didn't know they were called panic attacks for 10 years. These are hard things to deal with. And when you wake up just feeling like everything's surreal or a dream is hard. So I'm really proud of you, Blind Mage.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, and really grateful to have you in the community as well. Yeah, Tripwire.
I just wanted to say thank you, Noah, and the team for bringing about an amazing community. I've made quite a few friends. When I first came in here, I came in, I had real bad social anxiety issues, um, and I managed to, get through those pretty well. In fact, there was a few tools actually that helped me through a bit of a rough patch that I hit at the beginning of the year. I had actually lost, my place to live and whatnot. And with the support of everyone here in the community and the use of some of those tools, I've actually gotten through it pretty well. I've been looking to become a guide. It's actually helped me kind of find myself, as far as what it is that I want to do with my life. So I've decided to become a counselor or a therapist. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Amazing. Yeah, meaning and purpose is so important, and I think that's a cool thing as well that being a guide enables is learning how to help others and have an effect on them. Yeah, and Red-Eyed, yeah, do you want to add something? And then also, I'm thinking at the. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say that somewhere over the rainbow, this is it. I found my pot of gold here, and I get a little emotional, but that's because I have heart, and I can use my heart because you guys did that, and for you to open up this technological world and utilize it in a way to help us with mental health is a miracle. And I want you to know, Noah, I am really grateful that you guys have said I can become a guide too, because sometime this month and next month I'm going to be in training to become a guide, and I'm so grateful for that because I can give back what you guys at least gave. I hope I can give back a portion of what you guys have given to me. So thank you for that. I know you're quiet back there, but I know you're one of the devs that work behind the scene, and I want to thank you too.
Amazing. Yeah, well, thank you. And yeah, it's really exciting to have everyone here. And I'm so grateful, Jewel, that you have joined us and have made such a big impact already on Innerworld, and not only our strategy, but also, helping us with, just so many different things, raising capital awareness, creating tools, bringing in your 22 years of experience. Like, it's so exciting. And it kind of felt like we were on the same path, like you mentioned, and we were just, it was like kismet. It was just like, okay, yeah, we're going to work together, and we're just going to make this thing as big as it can be and help as many people as possible. So yeah, very grateful.
Well, I feel honored. It's an honor to be part of this community, to get to, this feels like, for me, this is my life's work, solving pain, creating emotional languages. And when you know the suffering, personally, when you suffer, nothing feels better than helping make sure other people don't feel that way, and helping that when they do, they know they can find their way out, and giving them any blueprint that you were able to find along the way. So it's, the honor is all mine. I'm so proud of what you built, and the thoroughness and the safety and the science that you have done is just incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I think as the last thing, maybe we'll have Roxanne and Moon Goddess, 2 quick comments, and then I'd love for folks to think about their favorite tool and just to have like just to pop them up just so that the folks on the Zoom kind of see what we're talking about with the tools. So in fact, if, as these last folks are commenting, if you want to put the tools kind of out from here to the train and over there, kind of like, just lay out some of your favorite tool. If you see someone else already created it, then you can just kind of leave one up, but would love to do that. So yeah, then Roxanne.
I just want to say for anyone that's watching that is unsure about this place, it's the only place in the world that is 100% non-judgmental. And I think that is one of the most special things about it.
Thank you. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, Moon Goddess.
Yeah. That Jewel had said that when we're able to start taking what we've learned in here and help, it validates what we had to go through in our lives. We no longer regret the things that we had to go through to get to where we are in our lives, because now we can help so many other people. And I'm not sorry for the suffering that I had to go through, the leaving home early, the fear of leaving my house, because it's what brought me to being who I am right here, right now, today. And I couldn't imagine being any place better.
I agree.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, these are some of the tools that we have as well for folks. I don't know, Tanner, if you're able to kind of zoom around and show some of these, but these are, all these different evidence-based tools. So we go beyond, the non-specific effects of talking, which, like Jewel mentioned, a lot of therapists on these telemental health platforms are just kind of coming every week and talking and just talking through things. But it's really the tools that are allowing people to leave their home and transform or, reframe their automatic negative thoughts that they have. So, just really grateful for all these tools that have been developed, and also Jewel's incredible tools that we're now working to incorporate into Innerworld are just like the emotional dyslexia, anxiety as an ally. There's so many key principles that are really powerful for folks. So there are more tools to come as well.
Yeah, and so if, for people on Zoom that may not have seen these tools, these are behavioral tools. And so, if you attend a meeting, and let's say it's a meeting for social anxiety, you would use a tool like what's here to my left. So let's say I want to go to the grocery store and I haven't been able to leave my home. I would attend a class on some social anxiety or maybe agoraphobia. And I would say, okay, my goal is to go to the grocery store. What's my worst fear? What's the worst case scenario? And then I write that down. And then for me, I like to then say, what's my plan? If my very worst case scenario happens, I want a real plan. Who am I calling? What am I doing? What's my escape route? And really plan that out concretely. And then now that you've done that, you can say, what's my best case scenario? What's the ultimate best outcome of me going grocery shopping? Now, I don't get to control life. I don't get guarantees, but I can influence how things go. And so what things could I do to influence a best case scenario? So some of them that I've actually heard, people talking about is I'm going to have Innerworld on my phone, and I'm going to put my little earbud in, and I'm going to walk in with Innerworld or some friends from Innerworld. And then you also write down what's the most likely thing, because usually our creativity can really think of the extremes, the exotic worst case and the exotic best case, but what's the most likely thing to happen? So that's just one behavioral tool that a person might run across in a meeting. And as you can see, we have hundreds. They're all so useful. The grief cycle is one of my favorites. If you come in and or the other thing I love, I can talk all day, is that, if I have a panic attack or my kitten dies, I need help right then. I don't need help on Tuesday at 2, and I might have a therapist appointment if I'm lucky. So it's the great thing is you get to come in here. You can tell your guide, come in, see who's here. There may not be a class even going, but you can talk to a guide and say, my kitten died. And they could say, have you ever seen the grief cycle? And so let's show you the grief cycle. Where do you think you are on this? And just knowing that it's this wave and that it passes brings you instant relief.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. And we're happy maybe in the future we can talk more about the different tools that we have as well and where they come from. And that's the science-backed element of what we're doing. So Thank you everyone so much for coming to this event. Please feel free to hang out or, head to a different world. We have tons of different worlds, like over 35 different beautiful virtual environments that are very relaxing. So this is just a taste of the Innerworld experience. And yeah, thanks everyone. And thanks Jewel for coming in and hosting this town hall with me.
Likewise. Hey guys, thanks so much. Thanks for all
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you.
and
Thank
talking and
you.
chatting
Thank
with us
you.
and
Thank you,
meeting
guys.
some new people.
Great week.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Blind Mage.